Yo, what is up guys? It is Esports Content Entertainment coming at you guys with another video here today. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about Mikyx and G2 Esports. As LECWulo tweets, sources, Mikyx is set to join G2 Esports as he will be replacing Targamas in the support position. Mikyx and his former teammate Hansama wanted to join a team together. He will therefore return to his former organization after a year with Excel. So there is a lot to unpack right here in this post by LECWulo, as it concerns a lot of what is going to be happening in the 2022 offseason for the LEC. So I'm going to give examples later on, but I'm going to talk about what this news means up front to me. So that means G2 was looking for almost an entire restructure right now on their team. That means they would have gotten rid of Jankos, Flakked, and Targamas actually, and you would be only keeping Broken Blade, Caps, Hansama, and Mikyx, which would be the 4 players on their team. Now, I don't know right now if they're going to be getting rid of Broken Blade. We'll have to see if that's, something that'll get announced, later on as the months come through. But as of right now, G2 Esports team is looking like it's going to be Caps, Hansama, Mikyx, and Broken Blade. So they would only need just a jungler, and if they can get a player like Elyoye, then I think that would be a pretty good team right there. But let's start right here, because we got to start at the beginning when we talk about these things, because it's going to be better for any of you guys that are actually, newer to this, okay? So let me start right here. And this is actually a last year starting point, but don't worry, I know all about this actually, so I got you guys, okay? So last year in 2021, remember there was that match that G2 Esports and Fnatic played, and it was the decider match to see which one of those teams would be making the 2021 League of Legends World Championship, okay? Remember when Fnatic beat G2 3-2, and it was a really close BO5 actually? That was pretty much more Fnatic favored, but Fnatic were trolling in a lot of those games, so they ended up losing more games than they probably should have. That was when G2 Esports took the gamble to bring Reckless to their organization, right? So then, after they lost to Fnatic during that BO5 and they couldn't go to Worlds 2021, they ended up restructuring their entire roster, right? So they allowed Mikyx to explore options, they got rid of Reckless, they ended up getting rid of Wonder, and then they brought over Dylan Falco as a coach because he was coaching, I think, for Schalke at that current moment in time. So you bring over new coaches, actually. You get rid of Grabs, who was, and yeah, you get rid of Grabs, who was their coach originally for a while, and you start your offseason early. It's crazy how G2 Esports is always starting their offseason early. Now, they don't have Carlos anymore because Carlos stepped down as their CEO, and Carlos was always a big proponent in them getting and starting their offseason very early. That way they could already start, getting their synergy together, right? Because as of right now, they've been eliminated from Worlds for a little bit of time now, so you might as well start your offseason. I mean, you're not going to be playing at Worlds, anytime soon, so you might as well just get your players together. So when people hear and read this post from a lot of other people on Reddit or Twitter, they're not going to understand this because they're just new, and that's perfectly fine, right? So when he puts right here, Mikyx and his former teammate Hansama want to join a team together. Mikyx and Hansama have played together. They played on Misfits Gaming back during the EULCS 2018 Spring Split and Summer Split, actually. So that's where they played together. Hansama and Mikyx used to play on Misfits, actually. And then, after 2018, Mikyx went to join the G2 Super Team as G2, bought him because it was known that Mikyx was one of the best supports in Europe, actually. So from 2019 all the way through, 2020, Mikyx wins all those titles, with G2. And, during 2021, with Reckless, he doesn't really look as good. He was touted as one of the best supports in Europe, but when he's playing with Reckless, he ends up, not being so good. I don't know if that was just no synergy with Reckless, or they just couldn't really just gel together, but that was just pretty much how it went. So then after that, like I said before in this video, G2 allowed him to explore options, and then he joined Excel after Excel chose to replace Advian, you know, with Mikyx. Now, for Excel, they had probably one of the best years they've ever had in the LEC. I mean, Excel went from, like, barely missing playoffs and almost pretty much never making playoffs to this year making back-to-back playoffs, you know, for the LEC. So from basically just Excel's, you know, point of view, it was a successful year from them, right? This is an organization that has pretty much never been anything good, really. They've had some decent games in the LEC, but they've really never been that good. They've pretty much always been borderline playoffs, or that's it, just borderline playoffs, 7th place or 8th place, and they've had bottom 10 finishes too, right? So, you know, you come into this year, they get Mikyx during like week 2 or 3, and then they make playoffs. They're very close to beating, you know, a team in the lower bracket because they get the lowest seed. They start in the lower bracket. Even during the LEC 2022 summer split, they almost beat Fnatic. There's a reason why I had them beating Fnatic in that series. They almost won. They looked better than Fnatic at that current moment in time, you know? But they ended up choking it, and, you know, Excel's gone. And this is one of the things, you could kind of tell Mikyx, I don't know if he really liked being on Excel, really. I think he just wanted to play. I think he just didn't want to, you know, not be in the LEC, because if you don't play for a year, sometimes it is, like, really hard to get back on a team. I mean, you have players from the when it was called the EULCS, still trying to get on teams when they chose to take a break for a little bit. And yeah, their break has been long and extended. So it's one of those things where, you know, having Hansama and Mikyx back together, it depends on if you want to consider that a good thing. So someone's going to ask me, were they a good bot lane when they played together? For the most part, yeah, they weren't like the worst part or the reasons why, you know, that Misfits gaming roster didn't work. I mean, you have players like Senkux, you know, on your roster. I mean, you know, not going to be doing so well with him, right? You also had Jez's at the time, who was their head coach, kinda, and that, it was all shit back in the day. I mean, yeah, they had Alfari, but it was like, it's hard to explain if you weren't really watching back then. They were a roster that started out really strong, you know? Especially during the EULCS 2018 summer split. Remember when they went if anyone who remembers this, they went undefeated for a bit in that funnel meta, and then they started just falling apart, just randomly. They just started just completely falling apart, looking like complete dog shit, actually, you know? So, Mikyx and Hansama together, again, sounds like a really good thing, but the thing here is, Hansama is my concern point, you know, because Hansama's a player where he's really hot when he's really hot, and he's really cold when he's really cold. I mean, if he gets into a mindset where he can't really carry very well or perform very well, then it's a thing where, you know, does G2 want to be able to be the organization that wants to deal with that, you know? And then you have Wizard talking about Targamas, so that means they would replace Targamas for Mikyx, a player they already just had the previous year who ran it down pretty hard with Reckless. Now, G2 Esports, or more importantly, you know, Dylan Falco and Carlos and all those guys, they honed in on getting Targamas and Flackid. Targamas used to play with Xmatty from the ERLs, actually. So maybe Targamas goes and joins BDS, reuniting with Xmatty. I mean, that's the only reason why Xmatty ever played well in the ERLs was because he was paired with Targamas, you know? That's kind of crazy. So looking at this, the bot laners that they wanted, that they went out and got them a title, got them to Worlds, but they were like, after one season, they were like, we don't really see us going anywhere anytime soon. I think they reached the peak of what that bot lane could actually reach, you know? And it's no shade at Targamas or Flackid. I think they played well when the split first started. Like, I'll say this, from the LEC 2022 spring split, the part where G2 went on that, like, undefeated win streak for a while, where they defeated Vitality 3-0, and then the rest of the teams 3-0. Then they had that massive win streak at the 2022 MSI event, where they were just undefeated for a little bit there, until they started just dropping off games really hard. From that stretch, and even from more games during the LEC 2022 spring split, they were a really good bot lane. I genuinely believe that they were a good bot lane. not to me being a G2 Esports fan, I think they were a legitimately good bot lane. Not the best bot lane, they were a good bot lane, right? It was just something in the summer split from this past year where they just started falling apart. I mean, did Targamas play bad? He could have did a lot more. I'll say that. He wasn't, like, bad. Like, he was doing, like, unredeemable plays, or he's just running it down. But he could have played a whole lot better, actually. And it's one of the things you gotta factor in, like, okay, do you want to wait for this guy to really play better? Or I could go back and get this other guy that I know has high potential and pair him up with another AD carry that has really high potential. It's just one of those things of how that works, actually. So there's another thing I'm going to need to explain to you guys, because this is kind of how the offseason generally works. Whether it's LEC or LCS, it doesn't matter, okay? Because I've been a witness to a lot of, off-seasons over the years. So during the offseason, when you're not at Worlds anymore, and you're just trying to pick the players you want for your org going forward, for the next season, usually there's these high-value prospects that'll have free contracts, right? So for just this example, and this could apply to LCS too, we'll just use Hansama. So during a previous year, there will be a team that is touted to be one of the best teams, actually. Then when they don't meet the expectations and they pretty much fail completely, these players start to get let go. Now, you seeing that, you go, whoa, these players I still think are very good. In this case, you have Hansama, where Team Liquid terminated his contract. You guys see where I'm going here, right? So then, Hansama would be the domino piece we're going to use, right? These are going to be dominoes that fall. Hansama is the main domino. So after Hansama falls, all the other dominoes fall into place. And so after this right here, you're going to be getting even more bigger off-season news. So we're going to start with Hansama as your core domino piece. He had his contract terminated by Team Liquid after they failed to make the 2022 League of Legends World Championship. Okay? So after that, all these LEC teams want Hansama. They're like, I need that guy for my team. But here's the thing. There's only one Hansama. Okay? And there's 10 LEC teams, right? And the other thing is, a player like Hansama is only going to join an organization that he has the best chance at winning a title, actually. Okay? So, he can only join G2 for that, Fnatic, Rogue, Mad Lions, right? Or you have Team Vitality, but they've never won shit, and they've always found a way to just completely just not really be good, despite having okay rosters to begin with, right? But Vitality would only be an attractive option right now, at this moment in time, because they have Perks and Alfari. But I doubt Hansama would want to play with Perks or Alfari. I don't know. Just how I see the guy's personality, I don't see it working very well with Perks or Alfaris, okay? So, he was just on Rogue previously in 2021, right? That's not gonna happen. I mean, I'm not saying that can't happen, that just is very unlikely. Mad Lions have Unforgiven, so I think he's actually pretty good. I don't think you get rid of him right now. Just based off what we just saw, Fnatic tried to get Hansama, but he settled on G2. So, yeah, he's going to go to G2. G2 literally won the LEC 2022 Spring Split when they were touted not to win a trophy. Remember, guys, that roster that they had overperformed, actually, during that Spring Split and went to MSI and won all those games that they did, So this gives Hansama the best chance of winning. But it's not just about Hansama here. The reason why I call it the domino effect is because if Hansama is the main key roster building point for a organization and they want to get this guy, okay, that means wherever he goes, if the other organizations that know that they can't get him have other options, they start going to option 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's why I gave the example of the dominoes falling. So when Hansama gets picked by G2, all the other dominoes fall. So if Mikyx is going to be a player that is going to probably want to join a team, he's going to have interesting offers from other teams, actually, in the LEC, right? So the other domino falls. Mikyx goes to join G2 with Hansama. The other dominoes fall. Now, I'm wondering about Upset. Where will Upset actually be going? There's other dominoes that'll be falling. These two are just the first dominoes. It's called it's just a domino effect. When one thing, falls, the other chips start falling, right? So you factor in you know, you have 2 good players on one organization already. Where will all the other players go? Now, Excel, Excel relatively is going to be a more on the cheaper budget side. But SK Gaming and what it has been rumored to be, you know, trying to build a decent team. They kind of want to spend some money now. Well, you're not going to have Hansama or Mikyx as options. And the thing here about, you know, SK Gaming is who, as a big player, who's really going to be joining that organization? Because the thing here is with organizations that haven't done jack shit like SK Gaming, if you so a player is going to ask you, well, the org asks the player, you want to join my team? Player goes, who you have? And if SK Gaming say, you know, well, what was that player that they had? Certus? And they're going to have, what, Irrelevant? Big name player's going to go, yeah, I'm going to see my other offers. This is how it works, you know? It's a negotiation period. Because, let's be honest here, you don't want to waste your time on organizations like that don't really do anything, you know? It's not just a shot at SK Gaming. It happens for Astralis, happens for Team BDS. I mean, we're going to have a crazy offseason for the LEC, you know, and the LCS, actually. I have some LCS content coming up very, very soon from LEC Willow too, because he put it out on Instagram. This is actually very interesting thing to talk about when I get to that. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about Mikyx rejoining G2. Or, I don't know how I'm going to title this video. Mikyx joins G2. Again. So, yeah, that's crazy. They let go of Flacket and Targamas after a single year. See you guys later. Like, comment, and subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I am MSK, and this is Esports Content Entertainment, your one place for esports content. Alright, guys. Deuces.